Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Hilk empath. I just like doing these little talks and the way I feel about things. I got uploaded and set it. I think I'll set it as a premiere because it's not connecting to the server, and I don't even want to mess with like seeing if I have the latest version. Whatever, man. Internet. The way I look at it is everything's divine. If I'm supposed to get a freaking message out, I'm gonna get that message out. I'm gonna move the laptop back over here because I was connected to the that's a little better. It's easier, a little more comfortable for me to stand. Tucker's resting comfortable. I was connected via Ethernet cable, but since I'm not going to do it live, I don't need to have the interwebs. I'll just do that later because my internet wasn't working. And see, people get all heady and trippy about the story. It's like, oh my god, why isn't stuff working? Oh my goodness, I'm being shadow banned. Oh this, oh that. And you know what? If it ain't time, if it ain't divine, if time ain't divine, it ain't going to get out there. That's all there is to it. I just happen to be one of those weird kids that keeps trying because there's back doors to everything. I've always known about the back door. That's why I'm like, why are people freaking tripping so hard on the earth? They should not be surprised that the world is the way it is right now. It should not be surprised at all. You know, it's our own fault. Everybody has to take their own responsibility as to how crappy the earth got. Everybody does. You know, and once people start stepping into accountability, that's when things will change, but not until then. And people still, you know, they still rather watch the freaking biggest freaking satanic cult ritual of the year. One of them. There's a few, but this is one of them. You know, one of the, it's like Christmas for human trafficking also, you know, and there's all these things tied to this program, this paradigm, yet look about how many people are freaking endorsing it by supporting it. 5.5 million for a 30-second slot. The cracks of society have gotten wider and wider. There's homeless people everywhere. People that don't have their basic needs. They can't feed their kids. They're killing their kids because they can't feed. You know, they're wiping themselves. There's murder, suicides. All this stuff is craziness is happening. You know, but you know, people can throw out some bullshit like that. Well, that's a mockery to God. Because God says that there's enough for everybody to go around when people are pissing this shit away. Well, that's just gluttony. That's just plain gluttony. So now, more people get gluttons. What happens? There's hell to pay. You know, that's why I don't like messing with freaking spells and freaking all that witchery stuff, man. I'm skittish with that stuff. Because I know the consequence of playing that way. Now, I believe in plant medicine. In healing the body. Mind, body, and spirit. I'm not into freaking getting people to fall in love with me with freaking manipulative words, and maybe they'll like me more if I talk in a way that I know that it'll appeal to more of the masses. But I don't do that crap. And for people who want that crap, that's all mainstream, and you ain't really gonna find that here. That's why my tube is tiny. I ain't made to be big. I live in the veils of obscurity. I vibe high up there. I was over there watching Thomas earlier, the, what do you call it? Spiritual Revival something or other, I think is his channel's name. And they were talking about frequency, and I'm like, this is my jam, man. I was like, Mom, I said, I think it's really interesting. I've been freaking talking about this stuff ever since I was a little kid, to the point that, you know, I've been ostracized by society. My brother thinks I'm crazy. You know, nobody believes in me. You know, all these people, my own aunt, I saw on her Facebook page, she's like over 75, and she's like, I made my appointment to get my vaccine. And I'm just like, oh yeah. It's all that old programming. You know, she doesn't give a shit that her own niece was given 6 fucking vaccines for this bullshit freaking made up paradigm of anthrax. I'm glad I didn't get all 8. You know? Doesn't, you know? See, because she got to benefit, and when you look at all the people that benefit from these programs, that's how I'm like, dude, they aren't going to freaking change, because her own baby boy, see, I know everything's about bloodlines. I know that people they're allowed certain advantages because of their ancestry and their bloodlines. That's why for everything you got to get a blood test. To get married, blood test. Everything's bloodlines, you know? And are people figuring out those Cain bloodlines? Cain ate Abel. Cain ate a cannibal. I knew it was cannibal, but I didn't get the connection that it was from Cain ate Abel, you know. And these people still exist because it's in them. It's just who they are. It's just what they do. It's just what they've all done, and you know, it's their freaking powers that be at top. But I think about like this happens in every city. See, when I was in the Air Force, I was an age mechanic. My tech school was 6 months long. Okay, and they pick people to work in these different areas based on your personalities. I always lose people with this, but the fact of it is true, and that's why I called this talk today. Some, not all. But because I live in a world where 10-month-old babies are raped and there's not much consequence to happen, you know, and all these storylines of this grossness and shit, you know, this darkness, this shadow, you know, I've lived this world, I've experienced all this stuff, right? And I just think it's interesting that people are so willing to deny that, but they believe in all the false idols. They believe in their yay Raiders and yay Nine and go team blow and all this shit. And you know what those guys do? You know how often are they in the news from freaking beating their wives or having dog freaking killing rings and doing all this maniacal stuff because they're just all shut up with drugs, and a lot of them are. Dude, and the ones, I mean, I digress. So when I was in the Air Force, my tech school was 6 months long. And before I went in, I talked to the recruiter, and I was like, what does a cop have to get? What's the lowest, well, that's what I was like, what is the lowest test score that you can get out of 100 to get into the military? And he said 36. That's for the people, the services people. The people that work in the kitchens, the chow halls, and the people that work in the gym that wipe down all the equipment and that hand out towels. Those are the services people, okay? And then he told me the second lowest was the military police, okay? They picked these guys, you know. A lot of them are the bullies. You know how many bullies I know that were dickheads in high school and now they're fucking cops? Yeah, I got lots of stories about that. But not all cops are bad. But if so many are allowed to be bad, then at what point do the people that allow stuff have to take some personal responsibility too? If you allow it, you endorse it. You're for it. So you're part of the problem. Even if you keep your mouth closed. So, 37. Then they give them guns. Then they buy them all, you know, get every year they get new vehicles. Every year they get all new gear. They stroke their egos and they just, oh, you can't do any wrong. You're just such a good boy or girl. You're just, you know, and they feed them that. And then see, when people are always told that they can't do any wrong, it does something to their brain. It sets them apart. They think they're better than, or separate from, or whatever. And then the fact is they're going to have that moment where they're going to realize they're just like everybody else, and probably some bitch is going to reject him, and then he's going to snap because he don't know. But mommy told me I was a wonderful person. Oh my God. Oh, the mama's boy. Oh, the mama's boy. Oh, how I just see it. I see it every day. See it. Coddle him. Make him think he's the best, most wonderful, smartest, most brilliant thing in the whole world. Make sure he knows he can do no wrong. Then maybe he'll grow up and be a cop too, because that's what they do. Because all you need is a high school diploma, and then they go do 4 years, and then they go back. That's what my cousin did. Then he went back. Well, he did 20, but he did 20. But then they go back to where they came from, and then they get, because they're already fat and fucking soft and everything and lazy, because, 20 years in the Air Force, you're just milking the system. It's just all fucking, yeah, milking the system. I didn't have the gumption to do it. I saw what a freaking bullshit it was, and I couldn't stand the pony show. So I could only do 6 because I couldn't stand the swinging dicks. And all the who's in charge and all the fraud, waste, and brute abuse and misappropriation of funds. And I got really sick of people freaking, playing it off like, oh, that's okay. That's just how we've always done it. And it's just like, dude, there's homeless people everywhere. I never understood that. It always goes back to that for me. There's homeless people everywhere, but we can freaking waste this bullshit on bullshit, And now there's hell to pay. I want to talk about the energy, and this is how I see things playing out in the next couple of weeks, because we're getting glimpses of the sunshine. We're getting glimpses. And I get fed off this. I get my energy. I don't eat a lot because if I can get some sunlight, that is where I get my nourishment. And that's how energy works for me. That's how I charge my batteries, right? But you got the control freaks that are like, no, for your own safety. Of all this shit that hasn't worked out for me in my life because of my own safety, it's bullshit. Are people seeing it yet? Are you seeing? Are you seeing how lawyers really don't have good ideas about how other people should run their lives because lawyers live in a different fucking fantasy world? Are people figuring it out? All the stuff that we've been told is just a freaking straight up lie. I don't care what the organization is. In every organization, there is somebody in it that is freaking of wicked heart. And they put themselves there so that they can learn how to live their life incognito and perpetuate. And they love doing it right in front of your face. They'll do it right in front of your face. They do it. I don't watch this. I don't participate. And there's so many people that are watching it just to study, just to see the ritualistic aspects that weekend dude is gonna do. He's not the same person. He has been taken over by demons. He had the desire to alter his face. He looks like a freaking reptile, dude. Why anybody does that shit and thinks that, like, I look much better. This is an improvement. Let me tell you. We always know. It's never settle. Your plastic surgery and your face manipulation, that is you playing with God's work. God don't make shit, but evidently your ego knows more. I know a woman unfriended me. And I was like, that's all right, because every time I saw your face, I just see, like, Voldemort. It's the Voldemort look. All these people are getting this Voldemort look, and it's just like, there ain't spirit. There's no God in me. When people perpetuate so much outward precedence on supplying themselves to, raise their vibration, that's all false gods. That's all false gods. And that stuff ain't gonna work no more. So things are going to get real interesting in the next couple weeks, I see. I think tempers are going to flare. I think people are going to freaking snap back. And it's also the astrology. I think that we'll probably be in the age of Aquarius probably in about another 125 years is the way I align with other readers that have put forth this data. And but we're getting a taste of it with 6 planets here, in Aquarius. It's just weird energy, dude. And if you ain't used to weird, you ain't gonna have a hard time because so many control freaks want to make things that make them. That's why control freaks they make them how they want them, because any variance, it throws them off. They can't live the track and path, the course of life unless things are how they want them to be. It's weird. It's a trip. Good news about Tucker. I got up, I let Benny out, I brought Benny back in, I let Luna out, I came out, and freaking lo and behold, Tucker got out of bed, walked all the way to the front door, and was at the front door meeting me. He did it winkily. He did it. So we just have to be careful. I'm always trying to be careful, man. I'm always trying to be careful. I really am. So, anyway, I guess that's about all I got for now. I made some pretty cool cookies today. They're just chocolate chip, but I put the fire cider powder in them, so they got a little kick. You know, like I said, I'm all for, you know, I don't mess with those freaking, spells and stuff like that. I ain't into the manipulation, because even when you get the good stuff, everything's about balance, you know. Anybody watch that movie or see that with the button that it's like you get $1,000,000 or something, but or if something about the button and money, I thought, and it was like, or you can push the button, you'll get $1,000,000, but somebody's gonna die or something like that. And it was like, you don't know if you know them or not, and so it was kind of like that. But anyway, it's kind of hazy. So, folks are using this energy wisely. The energy is good. It's going to be good. That's the thing, though, is because people freaking get the taste of this good energy, and they start getting glimpses of this, coming into spring, and then they freaking overshoot the mark. I hear it every day. It's that ego. Are you going to let the freaking solar system feed your ego? That's how I always get in accidents and freaking break stuff. I'm just overshooting the mark by thinking I can do something that I shouldn't be doing. So, we're all just trying to learn, I think. I think we're all just trying to get by, I do think it's funny. I will make a mention of this in the spirit of redundancy. I think it's really hilarious that we live on a rock that floats around thousands of miles, through space. Yet everything off planet is alien, but we aren't. And our people are starting to come into the realization that we are stardust and we have the same DNA as all I think freaking our alien beings are is frequency manifested into a vessel that a certain vibration tune into and recognize. And then they make, okay, I recognize that we manifest everything we see. So they present themselves, energy, aliens, angels, What's going to match you is your heart space of love or your heart space of greed, because they are full spectrum beings, and they will, and just because things look like what we have been programmed, deemed as scary and gross and all that stuff, it ain't true. I think things are more like freaking Men in Black than they ever, And when you have the eyes to see, I was talking about that over at Thomas's page. I'm like, everybody sees in frequency. Everybody sees in frequency, and when people have the eyes to see, when you vibe high, you see whatever you are willing to see. You got to remember that in everything, in the higher you vibe, the broader the spectrum is. So with all the greatest potential of light, you have that opposite and opposite reaction of potential of dark too. So how are you going to meet things? I was also thinking about, because he was talking about, I think our energy field, in congruence to our Akashic record, plants us to places on the earth in every incarnation that aligns with our magnetic field, because I was on the 45th parallel. That wasn't really comfortable to me. That's a dark place. Salem, Oregon. That's it all the way. I think that's a dark place. And then I grew up on the 40th parallel. I was born on the 34th parallel. Plus or minus 2 is my rule of thumb. I have found that people I have come across in my path in life have been in these latitudes. We have crossed paths latitudinally or longitudinally at some point in time in life. People that I found that I have karmic stuff that we got to work out. I found that. People come into your life for a reason, whether it's a day, a season, a whatever, however that goes. So, people are stepping into it. I was kind of getting frustrated. I'm like, Mom, I've been talking about this stuff my whole life. Now other people are starting to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I get where you're, I get passed up. I get passed up. It's part of my role. It's just like, I get passed up. I mean, I can talk about this shit for freaking 40 years, and then some freaking chump freaking, somebody has a freaking spiritual awakening 6 months ago. They start rambling all this stuff off, and I get passed up. What do you do, Ma? What do you do? keep lapping. That's what I got for now. Hope you have a rad day. Peace.